South Africans would rather die than retire. Well, that's according to a recent survey the financial consultant firm Debt Rescue did. It found that many people are unprepared with no savings or plan for retirement. For more on this, we're joined now by Debt Rescue CEO Annaline. Annaline, good morning. Thank you so much for joining us this morning. Quite interesting findings here, but I guess for many of us, not surprising because we are in the midst of this economic, let's call it a crisis, an economic challenge, and we simply know that there's not enough money to save or even plan forward for next week what to say our retirement. When you spoke to the respondents, what were the reasons behind this lack of planning?
Good morning, Janelle. Thank you for having me. Indeed, I think the biggest amount of feedback that we've gotten with regards to the lack of planning is just purely the inability to do so financially. Prior to the pandemic, it was already going very tough for South African consumers. It's been difficult to save, and this has just been worsened. And I think in a lot of times it's a case of I'll do so in the future, as you know, I'm still very young, and before you realize it, the world's situation has changed, our local economy has changed, and now more than ever there are just not funds available. So definitely worsened significantly by the economic circumstances right now.
Annaline, to be honest, many of us are hoping that our children will be the retirement plan. How realistic is that?
Look, I'm sure it is, part of obviously a lot of cultural, heritage where we would be taking care of our parents as they become older and so forth. But realistically, where we are sitting right now, many consumers are unable to even take care of their own households, let alone take care of their parents, for example. And, a lot of families are becoming smaller, where in the past they might have had 3 or 4 children, they might only have 1. So the pressure becomes a lot more. So I think, there might have been an expectation. And, obviously, I believe most children will try to assist to the means that they can. But realistically speaking, it's going to be very, very tough for most people to provide financial assistance. I mean, post-pandemic, we know already a lot of people are assisting siblings, elderly parents, etc., to try and help them monthly where they might have lost income or, they're just not making ends meet.
Now, you used the key word there, which is realistically. So, Annaline, realistically speaking, then, how is it practically possible, from your perspective, for somebody in this economic climate to still plan for retirement?
Well, you used the key word there, which is a word I've changed to, which is planning. Historically, we'd say budgeting, but we know that's a word that most people it makes their toes cold thinking of budgeting. So we rather say plan. Start by looking at your budget. Be very, very honest with yourself. This is your document between you and yourself, where you look at your bank statements, look at where your money is going, look at where your opportunities are to, for example, maybe cut down on some of your living expenses, changing some habits, planning where you shop, how you shop. Get a real true understanding and make those changes, and then try and tackle your debt as quickly as you can, because obviously your debt incurs interest, etc. So try and reduce that as quickly as you can. It's pointless saving when at a much lower rate than what you could be investing for, whether it be in any form of retirement planning situation. Get rid of your debt first, and then see what you have available to start putting towards savings of some sort for your retirement. Obviously, do your homework, get the advice of a specialist when it comes to retirement planning. But you can't do retirement planning when you might be sitting with a situation of very high debt, or you just cannot afford it, downright not afford to contribute when you are sitting with all these other expenses. So planning is fundamental.
Now, you spoke about the fact that it's important to first pay our debt before we plan for the retirement. But when we are ready to start planning for the retirement, what are some of the key factors, Annaline, that we need to look at when deciding where exactly to invest this money for retirement?
I would recommend, really speaking to a specialist. Get in contact with a financial advisor of some sort. Most of the time, the advice that they provide is at no cost to you when they are comparing options. And obviously, you can do your own research. It does take quite a bit of, understanding the different products out there, getting a realistic sense of what it is you're going to require when you want to retire and what your contributions would be, because obviously this is all dependent on how old you are already, what savings you might have in what forms, and speaking to a specialist here specifically is going to be probably of the best value, but it's never too late. The sooner you start, the better. The earlier you can get into some form of contribution towards funds for your retirement, the better.
There you have it. That was the CEO of Debt Rescue, Annaline van der Poel, encouraging us there to start planning for retirement. I think it's much more scary to not have any money when you're done working and it's time to retire than to die, in fact. And now